Hello, I'm Jack and this is Entertainment World, and today I'll be talking about The Suicide Squad, which was both written and directed by James Gunn, and stars way too many people for me to name off the top of my head. However, I will give it my best go. So obviously you've got Idris Elba, John Cena, Margot Robbie, you got your big three there. Obviously you've got Joel Kinnaman and Viola Davis and Jai Courtney from the previous films as well, along with Margot Robbie. You got Daniela Melchior, I hope you're saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. And you then got David Dastmalchian. Again, I hope I'm saying that right. You've then got Flula Borg, Nathan Fillion. God, see, like I said, there's way too many people. Off the top of my head, Michael Rooker, there you go. Sylvester Stallone as well, I forgot he was in it. Sean Gunn. Other lady who played Mongol, whose name I'll put here, I'm sorry I forgot. Storm Reed. Yeah, you got a lot of people. There's a lot of characters in this film. And then that's not even like you've got the leader of this resistance group, whose name I can't remember, but I will look up the actress because she did a really good job. Alice Braga, who's the leader of that resistance group. I hope I'm saying that again, correctly. I struggle with pronouncing names unless it's like really basic and like I can read it really easily, but I struggle with names, so I'm sorry if I've mispronounced quite a few of them, because I know there's names around here names on this list I'm probably pronouncing terribly, so sorry about that. And you obviously also got Taika Waititi. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there because... Oh, and Peter Capaldi. Again, I remember, they all come back to me over time, because like I said, there's a lot of people in this film. It has a huge cast, and yeah, probably one of the biggest casts I've ever seen in a superhero film. Yeah, there's a lot, and they're all quite well-known people as well, so, yeah, I'm struggling with that, sorry. Oh, Peter Davidson as well. So, Pete Davidson? I'm going with Pete Davidson. Sorry, not Pete Davidson, yeah. He's in it as well. Like I said, there's a lot of people. And is the 9th film in the DC Extended Universe. Not that that's really a thing anymore, and it's more just films which share some cast members and just do whatever you want, whatever the fuck they're going for. Now, I have no fucking clue. I mean, they keep saying multiverse, but all they mean by multiverse is anything that isn't Zack Snyder's. Other than that, it's the multiverse, but it's not really, because, Zack Snyder wants to use Green Lantern and Zack Snyder's Justice League. No, you can't. Okay, why? Because we want to use him, but I thought it was a multiverse. Yeah, well, it's not anymore. So, I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, I watched this film on Saturday, the 31st. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'll just get that out of the way now. I might be wearing a Zack Snyder's Justice League hoodie. Zack Snyder might be a thing, but I will admit, I did enjoy this film. I'm going to get that out of the way now, before anybody, sits on this and goes, oh god, you can bash it. Nope. I actually quite enjoy it. Does it mean I don't have anything to say about it in a negative way? And it doesn't mean there aren't any negatives, but I did enjoy it. So, I'll just get that out of the way now, so I don't come across like a hater. And I'll talk about it now. Also, I drove an hour and a half each way to go watch it, because I don't live... The cinema near me is a local cinema that doesn't get films until a month after they came out, so I had to go to my nearest Cineworld, which is a very popular chain in the UK, which is where I'm from, and I went and watched it there, so, yeah. And I would have liked to have got this review out before it was released in the US, because that would have been the first time that my channel's ever had a video like that, but because I have failed to catch up with my other things, I'm not able to do that, so this will come out whenever it does. Bit disappointed about that, but I can't blame anybody but myself, so there you go. Anyway, I'll be going into the review now, and obviously I'm going to start off with the negatives, because I always like to do that, to get them out of the way, because I like to end on a positive note. So anyway, I'll be starting with the negatives now, And quickly, sorry, this video might be filmed across 2 days. I'm not sure. Might be, might not be. Either way, you know, we'll see. But yeah, starting off with the negatives now. Okay, so this isn't like a huge, real negative in the film sense. However, if you go in expecting this film to be as great as all the critics are saying, as the posters are saying, as big and huge, the best comic book film ever made, the biggest epic, it's not. I'm just putting that out that way. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. But it's not. It's not the best film ever made. It's not the best comic book film ever made. It might not even be James Gunn's best film. However, you know, you might think it is. You do, and if you do, cool. But in my opinion, the only reason they're doing that is because Zack Snyder's Justice League came out earlier this year. Warner Bros. Didn't want it to happen. A lot of bloggers and critics didn't want that to happen. So they just went around and bad-mouthing it. It came out, was really good, and they were reluctant to say it was actually good. So now that this film's come out, and it's from a Marvel director, and it's on their agenda and their side of things, they're promoting the hell out of it. Like, best film ever, best comic book film ever, James Gunn's best film, that sort of thing. You know, you've seen the posters and the trailers. Doesn't mean it's not good, doesn't mean it's not, you could say it's great. I really enjoy it. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with it. So, yeah. But it isn't a big, emotional epic like I consider some other superhero films to be. My opinion, Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League. My opinion. I'm not saying it's yours, but that's my opinion. It's not as good as some of the Marvel films. Okay, it's probably up there with some of the best Marvel films now I've said that. But, there we go. Doesn't beat the Dark Knight trilogy, doesn't beat the original 2 Spider-Man films. So, but like I said, a lot of fun. It's certainly a fun film. If you put on every poster one of the most fun comic book films ever made, I'd go, yeah, totally, completely agree. Best. Your choice of wording's losing me. So, and I didn't go into it expecting that though. I knew what it was. I knew it was people overhyping it, because they were proved wrong about something else, and they don't, obviously Suicide Squad is also a touchy thing in that area, because everybody wants to say Suicide Squad, the first one was shit, and blah 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 blah, and Warner Brothers want us to be stomped on with this film, so we want, the previous Suicide Squad film to be stomped on by this film, because they don't want David Ayer's Suicide Squad to be released, also be really good, and then we'll be wrong again. So they're overhyping this shit out of this, try and push that down. The only being both James Gunn and the cast, some of the producers, crew, people like that. Yeah, they all want David Ayer's Suicide Squad as well. So do I. Just some respect for the director. Unlike James Gunn with this, respect him. Great, you did a great job with this film. This film is good. It's just being a bit overhyped. So if you go in believing all the hype, you might be disappointed by it. You might not be, you might agree, but I'm just saying you might be. So anyway, that's my opinion on that, and now we're going into the more actual negatives I have with the film itself. Okay, my other negative is, or my actual first negative with the film itself, I should say, is the film has a lot of humour. That's not the problem. The problem is it has so much humour that it puts humour in places where it probably shouldn't be, or there could be a really good emotional moment, or a dramatic moment, or something to that extent, a character building or character development moment, and they put a joke in, and it's just like, why would you put it in there? Just left it for 5 minutes, but no, joke in there, or something for shock value, which happens a lot in this film, by the way, and it's just sort of like, you could have made it a bit more serious, a bit more emotional, just in that moment, but okay. You want to go for the funny, more comedy sort of route, fair enough. I just think there's a few moments where the film suffered because it just wanted to go for shock value or comedy or something like that. And of course, if there's a lot of comedy, that also means there's a good chance that not every joke lands, and there are a few jokes which come across as awkward. And if you watch the trailer for the film and thought, the jokes in here look weird, because I know quite a lot of people who did, then again, you might not like really any of the jokes, because a lot of the jokes are like that. There are a few ones I think anybody would like, because there is a lot of dark humour. I mean, if you love dark humour, this film's amazing, but there's a few dark humour bits, there's a few normal humour bits, there's a bit... I think there is a joke. I don't think there's anybody who would actually sit and watch this film and not laugh once. I think you'd have to be trying to not laugh. I think you'd have to go in, sit down with your popcorn, and be pissed off and just sit here with your popcorn and be like, I don't fucking watch this, I'm going to fucking hate it no matter fucking what, fuck this film, and just sit there like this the whole time, just pissed off with everything. You would have to be, like, in that frame of mind if you, at no point, like, sat there and went... So, like, yeah. Even then, you'd probably still do it, reluctantly, and then you'd be pissed off with yourself for doing it. And you'd angrily eat your popcorn and stare at the floor. Something I don't fucking know, but... There are a lot of people who are on this... Well, a lot of people. There's a percentage of people I know who think to get what they want, which is a restored Snyderverse, which I also want, means they have to hate everything else. And that isn't the case. I will admit that, you know, but whatever. I am here. You can not like the film, fine, fair enough, but people don't like it. There's a lot of people, you know, every film ever made's disliked by somebody, so it doesn't really matter. So anyway, you know, just saying, not every joke lands, not every joke made me laugh. Some jokes made me actually feel a bit awkward. I was a bit like, no. But, some of the stuff really did make me laugh. I'm just putting that in the negative bit. This is for the negative bits. I will get to the bits I liked in a bit, but, little negative there. Not every joke landed for me, and there were a few too many in places where there probably shouldn't been, as well as a bit of an overuse on shock value. Anyway, next negative. There isn't a huge amount of character development in this film. There is some. Not saying there's not. And there are some good emotional moments, and there are some bits I thought, oh, I like that. But, compared to some of the other DC films, compared to some of other superhero films made separately to any big franchise, compared to some films in general, and compared to, like, Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, a James Gunn film, there isn't a huge amount of character development. In my opinion, you could disagree, and maybe I'll disagree with myself one day, but as from first viewing, I was a bit like, isn't a huge amount of character. There's a lot more joke and shock value and violence and nom shark, eat shit stuff. I don't, you know, with King Shark or Nanawe or whatever you want to call him. Nanawe? I'm calling him Nanawe. If I get it wrong, sorry, but yeah. There's more focuses on that, and there are some cute moments, and that's nice, and team building moments sort of thing. It's just there isn't a huge amount of it compared to some other films. And again, that sort of takes away from the whole overhyped, epic, emotional, this, that, because in my opinion, it can't be the best unless it's like really dramatic as well as fun. Whereas this film just like is 90% fun, 10% like great, emotional, that sort of thing. Maybe it's okay, 80% fun, 20% that. But this film to me is just more focused on jokes, violence, cool performances and music and that sort of thing, and being fucking cool. Then the rest of it, however, there is a bit. I will say there is a bit. It's just not a huge amount. I feel like I'm treading on like I'm going to tread on a landmine when I'm doing this, because I know there are critics. I'm not a big critic, obviously, but I know there are big critics who have had like these. Not the shit kicked out of them literally, but like the internet's version of having the shit kicked out of them because they said one bad thing about this film. So I'm not going to review bomb it either this way, but it's like you got to love it, and people hate you if you don't love it, or people will hate you if you love it. So I really enjoyed it, and it will certainly be something I'd want to watch again. You know, it's big, loud sort of fun. And it is a bit like if Quentin Tarantino directed a comic book film, but it's not as epic because it doesn't focus on the emotion as much as it should, and it does give itself a lot of chances too, and it almost goes there and then it just sort of like, joke, okay. But yeah, that's just my opinion there. It's some. There is some. It's not a huge amount. So, leaving it there. Next negative. Which, actually, by the way, is a spoiler negative. So if you don't want spoilers, because, I mean, I don't know when it'll be out. Could be out in a while, so everybody might have watched it, and my negatives about the whole poster thing might not matter anymore. But, you know, negative. So if you don't want it spoiled, if you haven't seen it, it's timestamp. And obviously I've warned you, if you keep watching it, your fault, not my fault. So anyway, spoiler negative. Okay, so my first spoiler negative is there's more than one, but should have said that. Anyway, my first spoiler negative is Captain Boomerang's death. Bugs me a little bit, just because look, I'm glad James Gunn had full creative control, and I'm glad he could do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. Fair enough, I'm glad on that. It's just the way Captain Boomerang gets killed off almost instantly. It just feels a bit not like a I don't want to say a middle finger to the previous film, because James Gunn didn't have to honour it. James Gunn's been really nice to David Ayer, and James Gunn's been supportive to both David Ayer and the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. So I don't want to say it's a middle finger, because that's too much. That's too harsh. But it just feels a little bit like a slap to it, in a way, because of the way Captain Boomerang's killed. Like, there's one thing to kill Captain Boomerang off. Yeah, okay. I mean, personally, I might not, but he is a bit of a cunt, so I can see why you would. Sorry for the big language. But, yeah, so I can see why you kind of would, but it's just sort of like, because he was such a big character in the previous one, might even be a bigger character in David Ayer's version, I don't know. Might actually be less, I don't know, I haven't seen it. So, yeah, who knows. Anyway, just because of that though, he just feels a bit off, especially as he's killed off in a very montagey sort of way with a lot of other people. Basically, you know, if you've seen it, the opening of the film is sort of beach landing sort of thing, and it all goes to shit because Blackguard ratted them out, and everybody gets fucking mowed down in somewhat comical ways. But his was like the most over-the-top death, and as it was part of the montage with a bunch of characters that you clearly aren't meant to give a shit about, like Arm Fall Off Boy, or the Detachment Kid, TDK in this, or like Javelin, and Mongol, and I think it's Mongol, I'm going with Mongol, fucking Savant, things like that, Weasel. You can tell that they're gonna get killed. You can tell that they're gonna jump off the helicopter, and it's gonna be like the opening of Saving Private Ryan, but not dramatic, not serious, and just like them just sort of getting mowed down in really graphic ways, and it'd be horrible, but the film will somehow try and make it funny in a dark humour sense of way. Obviously, if anybody wasn't paying attention to the Suicide Squad, not still Saving Private Ryan, that would be fucking horrible if that's what they did with that, but you know what I mean. That sort of thing where it all goes, it's all like this big explosion, battle, sort of ground sort of thing. Not comparing it to the opening to that film either, before anybody says anything. But it's just that sort of thing. That's what I meant, like, you know what I mean. It's that sort of thing, beach, chaos, all goes to shit, and you can tell they picked the characters that they were like, they're funny, kill them. And although Captain Boomerang, yeah, you could argue is one of, I mean, he's called Captain Boomerang, and he throws boomerangs with blades on them to kill people. Like, yeah, you can argue that he's one of those types of characters where he would be like, gets out the helicopter, gets killed almost instantly. However, because the first film made him such a big character, and such an important character, killing him off with every other, their power or their ability or their skills a bit fucking weird and a bit useless, so let's just kill them off instantly, felt a little bit disrespectful, just in the sense that he was made a bigger character. If this was his first film, then yeah, it wouldn't matter, because you wouldn't care. But because the first film made you care, and then he gets out in this, he gets killed, although it could also work in the not everybody safe sort of thing, which this film's clearly going for. This film's going for the You know, it wants to be the Suicide Squad. You don't know who's going to live and you don't know who's going to die. Fair enough, and it does add, like I said, it does add to that, because then you think, oh, just because he was in the previous film doesn't mean he'll survive. Also, Jai Courtney saying fuck Marvel might not be the best idea now that he's out, but fair enough. And he also might come back if they're doing the whole multiverse thing. Doesn't mean he can't come back, because Captain Boomerang might be in something else. And obviously, if they release David Ayer's Suicide Squad and people love it, and they might somehow make a sequel to that version, not saying they will, unlikely, just saying, obviously he would probably still be in that, because as far as I'm aware, he's still alive at the events of David Ayer's Suicide Squad, after the events of David Ayer's Suicide Squad, so who knows? I don't know. But, and anyway, this film doesn't really feel like a sequel to Suicide Squad. You could actually argue this film's not part of that at all. It's actually a different universe, so hey ho. You know, Captain Boomerang's also different in this, but I just wanted to say that. Anyway, go on to the next negative now. So the next negative is that Polka Dot Man's death also was a bit, because he's meant to, I'll go so far to say he's meant to be like on the biggest journey in terms of like most damaged sad character to the best character sort of thing. He gets killed off like that, literally. Starro goes on him. And even though it was kind of funny, and I did laugh, and I was like, oh shit, and it did shock me, again, that's the whole shock value thing. It's just a bit like, he was on a big arc and stuff, and, you know, if he died doing something heroic and cool and sacrificing himself, then yeah, I understand that. But the film was like, hey, sad guy who's always sad and wants to die, you can be happy. Like that. Like, I'm in so much pain all the time. I have to expel these dots, otherwise my body will eat me alive, and my mum used to torture me, and my mum did this to me, and I have nightmares about my mum, and then I'm never going to be happy, but now I'm a superhero! I'm so happy, yay! It's like, and no, that was not me giving acting a go if anybody says anything. Not saying I'm good, but that was just a fake example. Anyway, again, just whatever. Like, you're just sort of this thing where a big emotional journey for him, and he's a cool character and you like him and he makes me laugh a lot and all of these things, and he's getting redeemed, and Starro just slapped him like a bitch. But Starro's a big fucking starfish, so being slapped by a bitch by him, being slapped like a bitch like him is just, yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, a bit dead. So, just felt like, again, a bit of a moment wasted for the sake of a joke. A good joke, but could have had a better moment, a moment better than a good joke, wasted for the sake of a good joke. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, next negative, and that is, I do not like how Starro was defeated so easily. Now, I don't know a huge amount of Starro, I'll be 100% honest, but I know he was one of the big first Justice League villains. I don't know how weak his eye is though, so it could have been a common thing, but I just felt like big starfish getting defeated by Harley Quinn was a bit, I don't know. Like, if it was that easy, why was everybody scared of him? Because if Harley Quinn can fucking do that with a javelin, then you're like, okay. That's just my personal opinion. Like, I don't know why everybody was so scared of him, if that's all it took. Like, if you're doing that, it wouldn't have taken much to do it. So it clearly didn't take much to do it. I mean, obviously I know the rats then came in and all of that, but I just felt like it was a bit of a anticlimactic way. I know it makes Harley Quinn cool and all these things, but it's just like Harley Quinn literally getting him killed with a fucking javelin just seems like a bit of a shit way for him to go. So that's just my opinion. You could disagree again, but that's my opinion. Okay, last spoiler negative. I hated that this film killed off Rick Flagg. I hate it. And I understand you can kill off who you want, James Gunn creative control, that makes sense, fair enough. I understand that, and it did make a big dramatic moment for the film, and that's cool in a way, but at the same time, it wasn't as dramatic as it should have been, and to kill him off in such a way by the biggest piece of shit ever, Peacemaker, who can fuck off, it just made me so... I just hated it. I just hated it so much. I really did. I was like, oh, really? Oh. Like, not a big heroic sacrifice, nothing like that. Just killed by a piece of fucking tile, stabbed in the heart by Peacemaker, who's a massive fucking prick. It just bothered me so much. I'm sorry, I can understand why they did it. I don't know, you could argue you're not meant to like it. It's the death of the main character. But I just didn't like it for a bad reason. And, you know, considering his big emotional journey he had in the first one and the resolution he had and the nice wrap up and like he finally gets to live a nice life at the end of that film, I just sort of was like, okay. And again, this film doesn't feel like the same universe as the previous Suicide Squad film, so you could argue it is a different Rick Flagg, in a different universe. I mean, even Joel Kinnaman, who plays Rick Flagg, says this film feels like a different universe, and you played him very differently. And no, the character, you know, doesn't have a huge amount of emotion. And in this film, his death isn't that sad. Like, if you were to just watch this film and not watch the other one, you might not be as fussed about his death. You'd probably be, oh no, he didn't deserve to die. But you might not be really upset about it. But it's just because I've watched the other one, I really liked him in the other one, and he had a nice ending in that film. Watching him being killed in such a way by a fucking prick of a character pissed me right off, and it makes me not want to watch the Peacemaker series because I hate that character. I hate that. I hate what he did. I hate that. So it just bothers me at this moment in time. I hate it that much. And I don't know why I thought it, considering John Cena, Joel Kinnaman don't look alike, but I actually thought it was Rick Flagg who survived at the end, you know, in the end credit scenes, because of when they said his heart was still beating. I was like, wait, what, really? And then I realised it was later on that it had been Peacemaker, and that just pisses me off more. So I went from being, oh god, I hate this, to, oh, he's alive, to back to, oh god, no, I hate this, and now I'm really angry because it's actually Peacemaker. So, yeah, I didn't like it. Just to me in that way, like I said, creative control, fair enough, killing him off, you know, whatever, but it's just the way they killed him off, how they killed him off, after the big arc, and all of that. Again, if you look at it from a different universe perspective, it doesn't matter so much. Also, you know, I guess he could come back if, you know, like I said, they do the whole multiverse thing, or they bring in another person who has full creative control as well, or if they, like I said, made a sequel to David Ayer's version, if he lives in that, I don't know. Whatever. However it plays out, I'm sad if he is gone and doesn't play him again, because he was great. I'm sad the character ended in such a grim and shitty and unfair way. And I know a lot of soldiers do die in that sense, so I guess you could argue it works in that way. But to actually him trying to do the right thing and getting killed for trying to do the right thing, guess you could say it's tragic irony in that sense, but it just bothered me considering what it's the same with Captain Boomerang. You know, they don't matter so much in this film, but because you remember them from the previous one, it hurts more, a lot more. And I really didn't want that to happen. I really didn't like it. So anyway, that's my last spoiler negative. So, you know, the video can now be watched by people who haven't watched the film. So anyway, now I will be going into my positives, starting now. Okay, so my first positive is the entire cast do a great job. Like, everybody in the film is great. Even the people who had, like, 1 minute of screen time, they're all great as well. So, you know, little screen time, big screen time, however much, all great. Obviously, the returning cast were cool, because, you know, like in the previous film, Viola Davis was great. Margot Robbie, of course, was really good as Harley Quinn. Jai Courtney, good as Captain Boomerang. But my absolute favourite at the returning cast was Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flagg. I really liked his performance in this film. I really like Rick Flagg as a character anyway. I didn't like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn as much as I did in the previous film. I don't know why, I found her, like they're dialing up her weirdness to 11 and it just comes across as a bit loud that just might be my opinion. I just find it a little bit annoying. Since Birds of Prey and this, I just found like they dialed up the accent, the voice and everything up more, and it just comes across as a bit alright, whereas I preferred her in Suicide Squad, because even though she was still obviously over the top in Harley Quinn, I still found for some reason like less in your face, if that makes sense. So anyway, Joel Kinnaman to me personally was my... Of course, sorry, Margot Robbie, of course, is great as Harley Quinn still. That's not me being a dick. She is still great as the character. That's just my opinion there. But I just prefer Joel Kinnaman in this. I really liked him as Rick Flagg in this film. Thought he did a great job. Even though his character wasn't as much as he, you know, didn't have as much to do as he did in the previous film, I still really like Joel Kinnaman in this film. Also, Idris Elba, great. He's a great actor, so he was great in this. John Cena, great. Nathan Fillion, again, cool. Like, you know, they were all great. So there's no point listing them all. But the ones that the new ones, the ones that stood out to me the most, apart from Idris Elba, because Idris Elba is Idris Elba, so of course, you know. But the one who stood out the most was, for starters, David, and I've forgotten how to pronounce his name, so I'll go check how to pronounce his name again. David Dastmalchian, I hope that's right. Was great as Polka Dot Man. He was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed him. He like I said, he was great as a character. He was funny. He brought quite a lot of emotion to him as well, and he did a good voice for him. And I liked everything about him. You know, and the actor is basically like in every comic book, live action comic book film continuity. Like, he's just in everything now. So, congratulations. He's a good actor. I think he's quite underrated as well. I'd like to see him in more... I mean, his career's gone up massively, and I'd like for that to continue, because I do like him as an actor. So it is cool to see him in more and more things, and he was good in this film. Daniela Melchior was my favourite out of New People. She plays Ratcatcher 2, the daughter of Ratcatcher. And she was great in the film. I mean, really good. I really liked her as Ratcatcher 2. Great character, great performance. Had probably most of the emotional moments of the film were dedicated towards her, and she was great. Really enjoyed her as the character. I would like to see her again in future films. You know, she was really good. Like, really good. So, yeah, she definitely deserves a lot of praise for this film. Like I said, I hope to see her in another one, either as this character, or even if it goes multiverse route as another character. You know, if they go multiverse, there's no reason for that, you know, why that can't happen, so that would be cool, because, yeah, she's a great actress. I also hope she gets more work in general. But, yeah, she was great in the film, and the character was also really cool. Also want to say, I can't pronounce their names quickly, I'm going to add this in earlier, because this is later on. But the people who played the dictator and general of the island that the film set on as the main thing, they do a good job as well, and I'll put the names here and the actors themselves. So yeah, so they're my positives with the cast. The cast are great, and the action as well. So going off the cast onto the action was really fucking cool. I'd go so far to say the action was probably the most entertaining aspect of it. I mean, the cast interactions were amazing, but the action was just incredible. I had a lot of fun with it. You know, it wasn't like big, epic and action set pieces like some of the other ones, or like grand and dramatic, but it was very sort of like Quentin Tarantino-esque, sort of like really violent. Everybody gets shot. It's like blood everywhere. The violence was also amazing, because yeah, they R-rated, heavily R-rated. It was, I mean, if it could have been an 18 in the UK, it's a 15 over here. It could have been an 18 in the UK had the tone been more serious. I think it's only because it went for a more comedic Deadpool, it's not like Deadpool, but more of that sort of tone. But it wasn't, because fucking hell is this film graphic. It is probably one of the goriest comic book films I've ever watched. I go so far to say it probably has the most continuous violence I've ever seen in a film. But yeah, I did really enjoy it. I thought it was a great film in terms of action. I try not to spoil it, obviously, to people who haven't watched it, but the action pieces, be it the beach, the jungle, in a city, wherever it was really cool. And the cast and stunt performers, choreography, everything like that was great. And yeah, that definitely was probably my most enjoyable aspect of it. I really did have a lot of fun watching the action in this film. So yeah, the action was great, and I was engrossed whenever there was a fight, be it between characters, armies, whatever. It was really, really, really cool. It was edited really well. It was hard hitting but fun. And like I said, with the violence, here's a weird fact about me. I like it when things are more violent, because I prefer it to be more realistic, and then when it's all quick cut, choppy, trying to make it look PG-13 and stuff, whereas I actually prefer it when it's like this. So yeah, I was having a blast with the action. It was really, really fun. The comedy was also great for the most part. I know there was a few jokes that didn't land, and there were some jokes where it was like, if you watched the trailer and you didn't like the jokes in that, there are a lot of jokes in that style, but this film did have a lot of moments which made me laugh. Two in particular. There was one moment where it literally had me burst out laughing. I thought it was fucking hilarious. One of the more funny moments I'd seen in a comic book film. I want to say in a while, but one of the funnier moments of a comic book film. I did enjoy it, but yeah, like I said, some of it didn't land, but a lot of it landed. It was either most of it was either you get a chuckle or it was just straight out burst laughing. So yeah, it was great. It was either a little bit funny or hilarious. So that was a really enjoyable part of it as well. If I'm being honest, the visual humour was more funny than the actual spoken lines. There was a great few one-liners and conversations.
Any questions?
Hand?
Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
We're all gonna die.
I hope so.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
But yeah, the visual humour was great. I enjoyed it. Without spoiling anything, the funniest bits was very early on, and then a conversation in a mud hut in the jungle. Both of those moments were fucking hilarious to me. I absolutely loved them. Like every James Gunn film, this film has a really cool soundtrack, and though it doesn't have a memorable score at all, which you could use as a bit of a negative, as the DC films tend to have amazing scores, like Dark Knight Trilogy, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Wonder Woman theme, they have great soundtracks. This film didn't have that, but it had a lot of cool songs in it. The song Rain by Grandson with Jesse Reyes, I think that's who did it. That was a cool song, and the rest of the songs which were used were also really cool, and also fitted the film and elevated the scene in whatever way it wanted it to be elevated in. So yeah, soundtrack was cool. And also, I'm going to say this now, James Gunn has out-Grooted Groot with King Shark, and that is my opinion. I know there's some people who don't like it. I understand that. I can mourn and understand why you would fucking hate this version of King Shark, or Nawe, I think you call him. But I personally loved it. I thought it suited the film very well. The actor who did the motion capture, I think he's called Stephen Agee. I can't remember. He's also in the film as Amanda Waller's assistant. He's funny at that. He did the motion capture. He did a good job. But Sylvester Stallone did a great job voicing him. I know it's not like Oscar level it doesn't need Oscar level acting, but just the way he voices him, and he puts the cluelessness of the character's personality in the voice. He just had a lot of the funniest lines in the whole film. I really did enjoy him.
Ratatouille, what do you got?
Bird.
Now it. Stay off the comm.
And he had just a lot of great one-liners, and one of the funny he had a really funny moment in particular, in my opinion, which wasn't in the trailer, so I won't spoil it. But yeah, I did enjoy him as the character. And though, like I said, nowhere near as much as some other comic book films, or especially films in general, this film did have some good emotional moments, especially like with Ratcatcher 2. You know, there was quite a few emotional moments and scenes of character depth and stuff. There was a few moments of it, and when it did do it, and didn't like then just put comedy and shock value all over it, it did work. I did enjoy it. You believed these characters were bonding. The cast did a good job at portraying these characters bonding, and they had, you know, good chemistry, and you believed they were working well together, and you believed they wanted to be on the film. They all enjoyed being there. There was no actor or actress who was like, I'm only here because I was offered however much money, be it $100,000 for a small cameo or 10 million for a main role. There was none of that. Like, you could tell they all wanted to be there, and it really worked, and I did enjoy all of it. When they did do it, it worked. So that was good. My last positive before going into the spoiler positives and then wrapping up on the video: love James Gunn, hate James Gunn, love this film, hate this film. Whatever your stance is, it is great to have a writer and director to, you know, have full creative control. I love that. I mean, it does piss me off a lot that they couldn't treat David Ayer, Zack Snyder, Kathy Yang, and all of them like that, and all the horrible personal bullshit they did to them. But it was great to see both writer and director, in this case, because they did both have full creative control. And the irony is, it actually still, no matter how cool Warner Brothers think they are, no matter whatever point they think they're proving by shoving this up and putting Zack Snyder's Justice League down in terms of like which one they're promoting more, whatever they're doing, this film being good and people liking it is actually still a middle finger to them, because it just proves how well received, enjoyed and good a film can be when they don't interfere with it. So ironically, them saying, yeah, this film's great, look at this, basically they're fucking themselves over, because like, yeah, look how stupid we are when we fuck up everything else we do. So that's how I look at it. That's how I look at this in a positive light in terms of all of that. Like, yeah, I could be, you know, part of me is pissed off that it's like, oh yeah, so James Gunn gets treated really well, everybody else gets fucked over. I still fit. You know what though? I'm glad for James Gunn. Well done, James Gunn. And I did enjoy this film. I liked it, and you could tell that there was no interference. Nobody was saying, do this, do that, got to do this, got to do that, that's too violent, that's too that, that's too wrong, that's too much nudity, that's too much swearing, that's too much this, that. There's none of that in this film. You can tell that one person just went, I'm going to make this as fucking crazy as I want it, I'm going to do whatever I want to whatever character I want to do it to, and I'm going to put whatever song or whatever the fuck I want to do in this film, and nobody's going to say shit. And you can tell when he made it, because this film just, basically, you can tell, like I said, it's just what one person wanted to do in a good way, and it is a really good thing for it, and the film is better for it. So, there you go. Do what you want with that, and it just goes to show that Warner Brothers, basically, even though they think they're being really cool right now with this film, like I said, it just goes to show that a film is better when they're not involved in, like, the making of it, and they're just there to fund it and have the name Warner Brothers on it and have the rights and stuff like that. Other than that, it just shows when they fuck off, it's a better film. So, yeah, well done. Congratulations. It's great to see that. I know it's not really a positive on the film all the way, because, like I said, it does improve the film because of it. So, there you go. Warner Brothers, ironically, are embarrassing themselves and shooting themselves in the foot by promoting the hell out of this film, and yeah, look how good it is. Well, look how terrible you are. That's what this film shows to me. So I'm happy about that. It's a look at the positives. Like I said, I could look at the negatives all the time, and sometimes I do. Like, oh, so let James Gunn do what he wants, but David Ayer, Zack Snyder, all of them, no, they can't. But yeah, it's embarrassing for them. So, and they don't even realise it. I don't know if they ever will, and I think a lot of other people haven't realised that it's actually them shooting themselves in the foot. So just remember that, and that's the thing. I honestly mean it. Remember that. So the Suicide Squad being good embarrasses Warner Brothers. So, that's my opinion. Could completely disagree, and I mean, James Gunn probably won't watch this, and if you do, you're a cool director and a cool writer, and I enjoyed the film, and I like your other films. He might disagree, but from somebody who's just seen so many writers and directors and stuff being fucked over by Warner Brothers because they kept interfering, and then they're like, look at this film, and then they don't want to admit those writers and directors were right. So when like Zack Snyder's Justice League came out and David Ayer's Suicide Squad could come out, they don't like getting proved wrong. This film also proves that wrong, that them interfering could ever be a good thing, because it never is. So there you go. Do with that what you want to, whatever. But that's my opinion on that. You know. So this film just highlights the fact again, studios should not interfere. Okay, so a few spoiler positives before wrapping up the video. So you know, if you haven't watched it, timestamp here. So anyway, I'm going into it now. So the funniest moments for me, the ones I was talking about earlier, the two funniest moments. The first one is when they're all getting out the helicopter and they're jumping in the sea. The dramatic music's playing, it's all mission going, it's all great, go, go, go. And then Weasel jumps out and then starts drowning, and they're like, he's just freaking the fuck out as he's... And they look at the helicopter and there's just this big 6-foot weasel shrieking and drowning and flailing all over the place, and fucking Rick Flagg goes, did anybody check if Weasel could swim? And Amanda Waller looks over at the man whose only job it is to check what they can do, and he's like, that's Stephen Aggie's character. He's I thought that was I was bursting out laughing, and then it cuts back and he's just sinking. It was like, I know he turned out to be alive at the end, but yeah, I thought that was really funny. And I also loved the fucking when they're going through that camp, and that was also funny though. All the blood sport and Peacemaker and a competition who can kill the most, and in what dramatic over the top way can they kill them, and what creative way, and without even looking, that sort of thing. That was funny in itself, especially when Peacemaker walks past that guy and just goes with the knife. That was fucking funny. And then obviously Polka Dot Man takes out that tower with his polka dots, and they go in and they're going to rescue Flagg, and he's laughing, bandaged, plastered, and talking to the resistance leader, and King Shark bursts his head through the curtain, and they're like, oh, they're our friends. They've rescued me. They saved my life. They're on our side. They're resistance against the people we're trying to get. And they're like, standing there like, oh, yeah, oh, that's nice. She goes, why did my men alert me that you were coming? Why did my people not alert you that you were coming? Alert me that you were coming. We didn't see something. No, we didn't see any people. And Polka Dot Man just goes, I turned them into my mum in my head and I killed them. I just thought that was funny. That was just so that whole thing was just fucking hilarious. I loved it. I mean, it's so dark, so wrong, but it's just so fucking funny. I loved that so much. Another couple of things I thought were funny was when Rick Flagg, Peacemaker, and Bloodsport all standing outside the like flipped over prison lorry van thing, and they're all standing there and they're wearing shirts that don't fit and they just look really stupid, but it's meant to look cool. Well, they think it looks cool, but they look fucking ridiculous. I thought that was hilarious. And the other thing I thought was really funny was the Milton scene. If you watched it, you know what the Milton scene is. That was hilarious. I love that so much. I just can't express how much I love that. That was just amazing. I loved the Milton scene. It was ridiculous but hilarious. And of course, some emotional moments, like I said, were good. Like, I love the whole thing with Ratcatcher 2 and her dad, Ratcatcher 1, who was actually Taika Waititi, because nobody knew who he was playing, and for like fucking a year people were going, oh my god, who's Taika Waititi playing? He plays Ratcatcher 1 and he has like 2 minutes of screen time, so, you know. But I love that whole backstory, I love the flashbacks, that was all cool. And Bloodsport, even though it's a bit of a rehash of like Will Smith's Deadshot and his daughter, but like the other way around, instead of being loving, caring, I want to protect your daughter, he's like, but literally I like a 20-second shouting match where they're just yelling "fuck you" at each other. But I did enjoy, him growing to care and wanting to get back and help her out. That was good. When Rick Flagg realises what the government have been doing, that was cool. And Peacemaker killed him like the stupid fucking prick he is. Fuck you. I like John Cena. I love John Cena. John Cena is a great guy. In fact, I found out today, literally today, filming that since 2004, he's visited 650 Make-A-Wish children, which is one a week for 16 years on average, which is just fucking amazing. Like, John Cena, you're a cool guy and I love you, but Peacemaker killed Rick Flagg, so I want to punch Peacemaker in the face, but you're cool. I couldn't punch you in the face anyway because I wouldn't be able to find you. I'll go with that. I don't care, it was terrible. I'm still going with it. Anyway, but yeah, I liked all of that, and I love the ending, and I love when Bloodsport goes, they're all leaving, and then he turns around when Star Wars going fucking apeshit mental, and Amanda Waller's telling them to turn back now, and he goes to blow the hell off, and the fucking lady smacks over the head with whatever it was, I can't remember. That was also cool. Love that. I love that moment. That was one of my favourite moments. And so was the ending on the helicopter when they leave. I like that. And I also like Rat, I can't remember the name of the rat, but Ratcatcher 2's rat was cool. And he's sitting on a, he goes to stroke it, Bloodsport, because he's scared of rats. Enjoyed that. I enjoyed a lot of things, really. And before he was squished, I also love it when Polka Dot Man was like, I'm a superhero. I enjoyed that. I didn't really like the whole mum thing, you can see it, but I like the I'm a superhero. And I just like Ratcatcher 2 and Bloodsport becoming friends. I don't know if I said Bloodshot at one point, actually. If I did, I'm sorry, but Bloodsport, I like that. So yeah, there were quite a few things in the film I liked in that sense. So anyway, now I'm going to wrap up this video. Overall, not perfect film. A lot of things I was like, yeah, and I definitely think it's been overhyped in terms of what the billboards and shit is saying. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. It was definitely a lot of fun. One of the most fun comic book films ever made. Really enjoyed it. Highly entertaining. Laughed quite a few times. A couple emotional moments, and a lot of great action, a cool soundtrack, and a cool cast. So, yeah, I did enjoy this film. It was memorable. I've only watched it once, but I remember most of what happened. So, yeah, did enjoy this film. That being said, though, there is one thing which is holding this film's back from enjoyment, and I'll go into that quickly. Because of what Warner Brothers are doing, and how toxic they've been, and how terrible they are as a company, and how they treated David Ayer and Zack Snyder, it makes me enjoy this film less, because I do just have that thing in the back of my mind where they're like, they've just fucked over so many other people, it's hard to be excited about this, and they're doing this instead of things I want them to do. That's not James Gunn's fault, but I'm talking about from Warner Brothers' point of view, and that just bothers me quite a bit. But if they did the multiverse properly, and not just meant whatever Zack Snyder wants to do, we'll not let him do it, but multiverse. But if they actually, it's just an excuse to stop him from doing anything he wants to do, and move away from that. But if they proper multiverse it and allow things, allow David Ayer's Suicide Squad, restore the Snyderverse, and do whatever else, I would enjoy this film more, because DC, to me, has the most potential. So if they actually do a proper multiverse and actually allow their writers and directors to just do whatever projects they want, obviously some can connect to each other, like they make a Ben Affleck Batman film or series that can connect with Zack Snyder's Justice League films, the same with Cyborg and whatever else, maybe an Aquaman and Wonder Woman project in that universe as well. But if they also want to do standalone things like this, the Batman, Joker, or a Superman film with another actor, or whatever Blue Beetle and Booster Gold end up being, or I'd like a Snyderverse Green Lantern, but wherever Green Lantern's more than one Green Lantern, more than one Batman, more than one anything, and then like the Justice League Mortal as well, whatever they want to do, if they actually stuck to the word multiverse and did all of it, and actually allowed all of them to come back, like Zack Snyder, David Ayer, and them, and you know, those sorts of things, I would enjoy this film more, because I'm not here sitting here thinking they're screwed over so many other people and they're doing this instead of other things which I want to see more. But if they did it all, this film would just be like another really cool, really fun, big thing, part of that, opposed to me being happy about this and happy for James Gunn. Like, I am happy for James Gunn. James Gunn did really well on this, opposed to just sitting here like, okay. But yeah, I did enjoy this film. It is a really well presented film. Everybody did a good job. The cast, editing, I'm going to check who edited it actually. Fred Raskin and Christian Wagner, good job editing. Like, the film's really well edited. Really well edited. People did a good job with the cinematography. I said that, I might have completely wrong. Whatever. The film is well made, and James Gunn, wrote and directed. You do deserve praise for this. It is fun. I just wish everybody could come back, David Ayer and Zack Snyder especially, and then get the same treatment, and then do whatever projects they want, in whatever continuity, do the multiverse. That's what I want. But as I said, I am happy for James Gunn. So, restore the Snyderverse, release the Ayer cut, but for now, at this moment, just for the sake of this, because I don't want to trample on it, James Gunn and the cast and everybody who worked on this film, well done. You did a really good job, and I am here to say that, not knocking that. I just want everything else as well. I want other people to join your success. Not saying the other things I'm being successful, because like I said, you know, my favourites, Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder. Just what I mean is, I want everybody else to have the same enjoyment and like fans being able to be as happy as like everybody who's been part of this. So yeah, that's what I want. But yeah, well done you guys, you did a good job. So anyway, so the film quality I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. It is a really well made film, really fun. So it is an 8 out of 10, and its entertainment quality is a 8.25 out of 10. That's my film quality for it, and that's my entertainment value. I did enjoy it, and I will definitely be buying it on 4K when it's released. And I recommend you do the same, unless you don't have 4K and then Blu-ray. But you know my opinion on digital. Don't do digital, because unless you've got the best internet, the quality is never the same. But I do recommend it on 4K or Blu-ray. I'll personally be going for the 4K. So anyway, yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next one. Thank you for watching this, and I hope to have this out soon. And if this is later than it should be, I am sorry. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I do hope to see you all soon. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.